Nous restons sur le thème du retail média online, mais cette fois, nous allons avoir un partage d'informations internationales et de recommandations exclusifs de la part de Neilson Hall. Where is Neilson? Hi, Neilson. Thank you. Thank you to join us in Paris, Neilson. Alors Neilson, tu es le commerce EMEA lead de Kinesso, donc le groupe IPG MEdiabrands. Why is it important to unify retail media and how to simplify campaign management? Comment simplifier le pilotage des campagnes retail media?
Simple question there. But listen, I want to say thank you so much for having me. I think events like this are so important when retail media is so nascent. So we as an industry can set standards, make sure metrics are the same. And I think that really builds a foundation for everyone to build on. So a little bit about Kinesso. I've been in retail media and commerce now for 15 years. And I think one of the things that we really wanted to try and push as part of our offering is to make sure that retail media was front and center of everything we do, whether that's planning, buying, or indeed optimization. And it's all well and good having a great technology spine, but retail, commerce, it means lots of different things to different people. So we wanted to ensure that our teams were structured in a way where we were deploying the skills where our clients needed them most. So we have three key pillars. We have the retail media pillar, the retail content pillar, and then the retail consultancy. What I want to now do is just talk you through a little bit about how we've used these techniques in order to get some great retail media results for our clients, but I think really join up the way we look at data. So these are going to be kind of spotted throughout the course of the presentation, but this is a really good example of where these big brands have embraced retail media, broken down the silos that exist within their organizations in order to make retail media work for them. So Neutrogena, we did a piece of work looking at how we could ensure there was consistency in the user journey across all of the different kind of retail media advert types that are available. This meant that the user journey was more joined up. Nespresso is a really interesting example. They had a big problem with retail media adverts pulling consumers into lots of different retailers. And we know the market is very complex and it's very fragmented. So by embedding a piece of technology that understood the shopper or the e-retailer where that user came from, we were able to drastically reduce the user journey and increase conversion rates. Alternatively, G-Star Raw used retail media as a great way in which they could expand into new markets quickly and easily. That's all well and good, but the big question is, how do we win in retail media? Well, I think before we go into that, it's worth kind of touching on this explosive growth, the reason why we're all here. And I think there's a number of different reasons that have caused this. I think COVID is definitely one. I think the fact that retail margins are being squeezed, so retailers are looking for new and innovative ways in which they can make revenue. But also, I think one of the defining moments and the catalyst is that in Q4 of 2023, the famous example with Uber. So for years, they've never turned a profit. And as soon as they opened up their inventory to advertisers, they made over £600 million. And a lot of the big brands and e-retailers really thought, wow, this is a big light bulb moment. How can we similarly open up our inventory to non-competing brands for them to benefit from a retail media capacity? I think also, for me, when we talk to brands about setting up a retail media network, yes, revenue is always going to be the biggest draw, but by having a retail media network, you can also uncover blind spots in your strategies. You can create connections between where that consumer's going. So loads of really interesting benefits. However, it's not without its struggles. These are things that I'm sure all of you here will be aware of. The fact that we have a very chaotic consumer journey. So people are shopping for multiple different things at different times on e-retailers, on social media, on marketplaces. We're also in a world, particularly in EMEA, that's incredibly fragmented. So all of these different e-retailers are going off, doing their own strategies, having their own technology, and that means we're in a world where there's lots of walled gardens. And ad types are increasing all the time. Whereas before we had search and display, now we have rich media, we have voice. And these are complex tasks in which, we really need to kind of understand what advert is best for what consumer. And finally, we have disparate measurement. And this is something I touched on earlier, where all of the different retailers are coming and providing different KPIs and different measurement frameworks, and it becomes incredibly hard for individuals and e-commerce practitioners to interpret that data and then make the insight to send back to clients or to brands. So the first thing that we do is we have a maturity audit, and this is a list of specific questions that we really get under the bonnet of the individual brand to understand how well they are structured in order to capitalize on the retail media opportunities. So looking at things like the technology that they use, the way their organization is structured, because I think that's a big frustration, because you still have a lot of the retail media budgets sitting within the trade teams, and then you have your media teams over here, and there's no kind of joining up between those two. So looking at all of those things, and then we could plot a really clear roadmap, so how we can move a brand from being a nascent retail media user all the way up to being a market leader. But how do we succeed in this new world? So these are, if I had to say, the three key things to take away is: one, unification, so bringing together processes, data, and technology in order to better activate retail media. So when we plan and buy media, we have commerce embedded within that model. So it's not a standalone function that's done separately, it's part of that kind of overarching retail media plan. The biggest benefit of this is that you're able to fluidly move budget between e-retailers. So if you find that, on Carrefour, for example, it's got a better affinity to your audience, you can move budget across from Nectar in real time, which is pretty kind of groundbreaking. Secondly, being able to move at the speed of retail. Before we ever start a project, we always try and break down the structural silos that exist within a client's business, so they're better set up to benefit from retail media. And finally, be growth orientated. I think one of the things about commerce, unlike other performance marketing channels, is it touches everything. It touches all of the consumer journey, but it could be part of social, it can be part of search, it's part of display. So therefore, you have an opportunity not just to grow a commerce ROAS, but grow and deliver for the business. And that's enabled us to have some of the kind of the most advanced commission-based only models, where we can partner with a client and truly be invested in their goals and their KPIs as well. So that's all well and good. That's the theory. Let's put this into practice. And I just wanted to bring this to life for you. Firstly, in the process, and then secondly, show you what it can deliver. So this is how we kind of plan and buy media and leverage kind of retail media capabilities. So on the left-hand side, is it the left-hand side, I think? So you've got define there. So this is just a sample audience that we've created for people that want to shop for cereal bars. That then is passed over to the build phase, and this is where we have all of the retailers via an API being pulled into our central system, and we can isolate specific retail data. So transactional data at point of purchase that will really help enrich that audience segment. We can then plan and activate that across all forms of performance marketing. So you're elevating your paid social with transactional data. You're using that buy box information for your search as well. And it's an iterative cycle that can go round and round. So that's the process and the methodology. So let's see it in practice. So this is exactly the same technique used for an FMCG brand. So on the left-hand side there, you can see the various different kind of test frameworks. So first of all, we had to choose a media partner, and in this case, it was Meta. Second of all, we had to choose a data partner, and in this case, it was Boots. And then we used LiveRamp as the technology infrastructure. We then carried out the tests against a kind of a net blanket, and we were really, really surprised. So we found that this technique led to a 51% increase in online sales from paid search. And that was amazing. So obviously that's something that we'd like to carry forward. However, the really interesting thing is that not only did it lead to a 51% increase in sales, we also found that in-store sales for that product also increased by 4.4%. And what that demonstrates is the power of retail media, not online, but also offline. So it's really significantly increasing footfall for that particular branch of store for that product. So really the opportunities here are absolutely massive. And this is just one isolated example for one client. So you could imagine this across multiple different brands for multiple different products. Finally, it's all well and good having great kind of strategy, great data, great technology, but I think the bedrock of a really comprehensive retail media strategy is content, making sure that you have content that moves, that adapts, and also has an emotional connection with your customer. And the big change for me is that a lot of e-retailers, and look at Amazon, for example, have gone from being the ultimate conversion engines. They wanted to get people in and out as quickly and as efficiently as possible. But now, because of retail media, they want people to stay on site. So they're offering more and more forms of content, information, rich media, and you've got to make sure that that's all in place in order for your endemic retail media to succeed. Finally, I just want to touch on the point that with e-retail, we all know there's multiple different e-retailers. We're a very fragmented market. And one of the things that's important to do if you've got an endemic brand is make sure that you're organically ranking as highly as possible. And that's going to really make your paid retail media work better. So what we've done is we've used an AI agent to basically unearth all of the different algorithms that dictate where you rank on different e-retailers, because they're all different. Some are looking for keywords, some are looking for product descriptions and sizes, others are looking for promotional deals. And once you've been able to map that, you'll have a far better chance of getting the most cost-effective CPC for your campaigns. And then with retail media, one of the great things is that you can use it as a growth hack. It's an additional lever that you can use as part of your kind of marketing campaigns. So whether you want to grow total traffic by increasing category share, increase average order values by target share, or indeed better understand category buyers, these are all additional retail media levers that can be incorporated into your overarching strategy. And I suppose just to finish, just to recap, unification with technology and audience is key. Making sure that you're using transactional data with your performance marketing, having a really robust and effective content strategy, I think are the really key things that you can get to unify your retail media. Thank you so much for having me. I will be around today if you have any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Neilson. Are you English?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. I can see that only English people respect the time.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Neilson.